When I was a kid, I wanted to be an artist. I was okay at drawing, I was good at drawing, and I was okay at painting, but I kind of convinced myself there wasn't really a career with money in it for me. I just wasn't fast enough. I wasn't creative enough. So when it came time to go to college, I majored in business, and that was kind of that. The years go by, and eventually I find myself drawn back to my artistic side. And I start creating hand-drawn greeting cards for people for special occasions, and baby onesies with original art, and even painting on cake with food colors. And then, completely by accident, I stumbled across the medium that I feel like I've claimed as my own, the most avant-garde artistic medium I have found to date: extreme office cubicle holiday decorating. In 2011, I took a new job with a medium-sized IT company, and the first week I was there, I'm sitting in an open cube farm, and the guy who's sitting at the desk next to me tells me that the company has this tradition of really intense holiday celebrations. Half of it is a really awesome Diwali celebration, the Indian holiday, because of the large contingent of Desi co-workers, and then the other half is the American pan-December holiday celebration. And the highlight of that is the cubicle decorating contest. And he says that there are big prizes for that. The CEO is really into it, and that the employees are really into it and will really go all out to win the contest. So last year, he tells me, the winner of the decorating contest turned his cubicle into a gingerbread house with a complete roof. So I have just a little bit of a competitive streak, and I figure, like, okay, I'm game for that, to be a team player. The rules come out in November, and I get to looking at them, and there's themes for the contest and some rules, and I waffled a little bit about whether I'd actually do it or not. So I didn't really commit to doing it until a couple days before. So my wife Mary and I are thinking about, like, what should I do for this contest? And we bat around a bunch of ideas, and we settle on the one that sounds strangest to me, and that's the most appealing, which is, if Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a desk job at the North Pole, what would his office look like? So we get to work crafting, and we spend a couple days making craft projects at home, and then 6 a.m., the day that the contest is supposed to be judged, I load up the car with props and supplies, and we head to my office, and we get to work in the darkened office before any of my coworkers show up. We think this is enough time to put up the decorations, so I get to work, and the first thing I do is I cover every wall of the cubicle with brown craft paper from a giant roll I got at Michael's, and I get out a Sharpie, and while Mary's installing some other stuff, I draw on parallel lines to make the brown craft paper wooden boards. So like the cubicle is a stall in a wooden barn. We line the inside of the cubicle with printouts of Microsoft Gantt charts, of Microsoft Project Gantt charts of the manufacture and global delivery of toys to children worldwide. We also have a manual on sleigh operations, reindeer 401k documentation. We also put up some accessories, like a picture of the 8 reindeer pulling the sleigh. Teamwork. Red noses are good, but some have to be brown. Give it a minute. We replace the framed pictures of my family and vacations I've taken with reindeer and elves and the abominable snowman from the old Rankin Bass claymation Christmas specials. And the final touch is we cover the floor of my cubicle with straw that was left over from my Halloween decorations at home, and say a little prayer that the cleaning crew doesn't hate me too much. And then the last thing is I dress in an all-brown outfit, put on some fuzzy reindeer antlers, take my wife's reddest shade of lipstick, give myself a red nose, and I wait out the rest of the day for the judging. The panel of employee judges from the company fun committee comes around about noon, and I think they were a little perplexed by what they saw. It definitely wasn't quite like the other decorations around the office. It was a little more conceptual. They thanked me for my efforts, and then they moved on. The next day, the winners were going to be announced at the company holiday potluck, and the CEO of the company pulls me aside and he says, "David Supley Foxworth," because he likes calling me David Supley Foxworth. "David Supley Foxworth, I have to tell you, your cubicle is a work of demented comic genius." And I thank him, and it is a little awkward because I haven't actually known him very long. But he wishes me luck, and then the potluck goes on, and the winners are announced, and I get an honorable mention. So the CEO, who is not on the panel of judges, when he hears this, he comes over to me and he says, "David Supley Foxworth, you were robbed." And he assures me that he's going to direct the fund committee to take a hard look at the rules for the contest to make sure any such miscarriage of justice does not happen again. So next November rolls around, and as it turns out, the contest rules have changed. The committee of judges has been deposed and will be replaced by a popular vote by the entire company. The contest rules come out, and they have their list of themes, and we're looking at the themes and are trying to decide what to do. So one of the themes is most illuminating. That sounds sort of intriguing, but I don't want to do something really simple like just a bunch of candles or a projector. So again, Mary and I bat around ideas, and it's her that comes up with the real killer. She says, "What about a most Illuminati holiday?" Yes. We will make a display that combines holiday cheer and world domination conspiracy. Because after all, what says good fellowship like secret societies? So we get to work. The planning's pretty intense. We have a long list of stuff to make, and the contest rules come out around, a little bit before Thanksgiving, and we have to get a lot of stuff planned because if you have left all sense of restraint behind and want to buy 1,200 Christmas lights to put up around your cubicle and a trunk full of supplies from Michael's and Walmart, because you can't possibly not prove to your coworkers how clever and funny you are, then you really have to get ready to go shopping on Black Friday. So we're ready. We spend most of Black Friday getting supplies, and we get to work crafting. And it does take quite a lot of work to put the projects together. There's a lot of crafting and an extravaganza of desktop publishing. Now, it was kind of an accident the year before that we just put up the decorations the day of the judging, but we talked among ourselves and decided that the element of surprise could work for us again. We want to people are kind of buzzing in the office about what I'm going to do again, but nobody knows, and they're not sure if I'm actually going to do it because it's getting closer and closer to the day, and I'm not saying anything, and there's no decorations. So we're holding off till the last possible minute. So the day before the contest, we go in and we start installing, and there's a lot of stuff to put out. There's a stack of applications to join the New World Order, if you'd like to do that. There's a instructional poster of secret handshakes for the Freemasons. I cover the floor of the cubicle, because I enjoyed this last year, with shredded documents instead of hay. And we turn the outside of the cubicle, the outside wall, into a three-dimensional advent calendar of conspiracy theories. If you open each door and look inside, there may be a little object with a clue to the conspiracy, but there will be a QR code that, if scanned, takes you to the disturbing details of said conspiracy on mostilluminatiholiday.com, the website we had registered and set up as part of the contest decorations. Also, and as I mentioned, the 1,200 Christmas lights, there's lights everywhere, all over the place, including a beautiful Most Illuminati Holiday logo that Mary made, and desktop publishing genius. She made it, and basically I took it and put it on poster board and punched tons of holes through it like an old light bright and filled them in with Christmas lights, so we have this giant illuminated logo for Most Illuminati Holiday. And that logo is so pretty, we can't let it just be a sign. So available on cafepress.com for purchase are Most Illuminati Holiday t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, and I made sure to order a coffee mug and a long sleeve t-shirt for myself to get there in time to wear and drink out of on Judging Day. So it takes a long time to put all this stuff up, and because we've covered the walls again with paper and everything. And around 4 a.m., I step back and I kind of survey our handiwork, and I do have this sinking feeling that possibly I've lost my mind. I also have a little concern that something we were trying to do here, it was kind of a lark the first year that we did something a little weird and conceptual. It just came to us and we did it. And we loved it so much, we really thought it would win. And then when it didn't, I sort of felt like I had something to prove. I felt like I had to prove to my coworkers that the future of holiday decorating was something with a vision, something that created a world and contained a narrative, something that the viewer could explore with their mind. And I wanted this vision to win, but I was concerned that maybe what we'd done here wasn't going to connect with the audience. Like, would they understand why, instead of a Christmas tree, there was a green pyramid with a lighted all-seeing eye on top, slowly rotating on a motorized base? Would they think it was funny that I had Christmas cards from Opus Dei and the Templars, and a Happy Hanukkah card from the Elders of Zion? I don't know. I won. That's right. So the winners were announced at the holiday potluck again. The next day, later that afternoon, the head of the fund committee sent out an email listing who the winners were and what prizes they'd won to the whole company, to which the CEO replied to the whole company. Please do not be intimidated by the sublime, multi-layered concept and superb execution brought to the game by David Supley Foxworth. You should take it as a personal or team challenge that you can overcome with proper planning. Maybe loop in that art major friend of yours from your college to help. If you are intimidated by David's level of play, recall that there are also 3 category winners with substantial cash prizes. Although these winners have brought their A game each year and will not be easy to unseat. Kind regards, Reed. So after that, I felt a little bit of pressure to top most Illuminati the next year. And people kept asking all year, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do for this year? And I kept telling them, like, well, I have an idea, but it's a secret, I can't tell you. But really, I had no idea. I didn't know. But as I was getting close to the holiday season, Mary and I were talking about ideas, and the idea came up that we should try and tackle a real Christmas classic. Like, we had, the last year we had really gone with something like weird and dark, and this year, let's go with something happy and like a real Christmas classic. So let's do The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. So this one also required a fair amount of planning, but we went with a little bit of a different tactic. This time, I asked Reed's permission if he would mind if I put a few decorations around his office, and he said, like David Supley Foxworth, as long as you don't put any holes in the wall, you can do whatever you want. So I start the decorating a couple weeks. We actually put up the decorations a couple weeks before the contest. And so it starts with me putting up craft paper all around the CEO's doorway and drawing on it, drawing with markers, boulders, so it looks like the outside of a cave. And then we also put up all around the office signs in whimsical font pointing either to Mount Crumpet or Whoville. And we bring in all sorts of like really colorful, like bright colored decorations and decorate my cubicle and several empty ones around me, to look like the village of Whoville. And we've done this a couple weeks in advance because we really want the buzz to build. We want everyone in the office to be able to see it because there's an end game. And we want everyone to be able to see it. And this actually surprises my coworkers because after a couple years, they're now like wise to the tricks. Like they expect the decorations to go up right at the last minute. So they're puzzled by that. And it turns out some of them are not happy about it either. Because I am summoned to an emergency meeting by the head of the company fund committee, who informs me that she has received complaints from some number of unspecified employees that I have decorated cubes outside of my own, which is a violation of the contest rules, and they feel like gives me an unfair advantage. And I tell her, the show has already started. I'm not compromising my artistic vision, and just let the chips fall where they may. If you feel like I have to be disqualified and I don't get a prize, that's fine, but you're gonna see the whole show. So, the weekend before the judging, Mary and I come in and we take down all the decorations, except for a few shreds of paper and a couple hooks stuck to the wall and one lonely ornament on the floor of my cube. We also film a movie of Mary dressed as the Grinch with green face paint, sneaking into the office, stealing the decorations, loading them up on a giant cardboard sleigh I made at home. And then we transfer all the decorations to a conference room I had previously reserved for a 2-day meeting. The weekend also involves editing the movie, creating the soundtrack, narration of the rewritten Grinch story, and a trailer for next year's decorations, which is me moping around town center looking suicidal in black and white, playing Jimmy Stewart in Frank Capra's classic, It's a Wonderful Job. So Monday, I come in, I'm really tired, but I'm kind of hoping for some reactions from the coworkers. I come in, and there's one guy who winks at me, because he knows the Grinch story. But there's a lot of people who are very upset. One tearful coworker actually tells me, you can still do something. You have time, put up something. You're so talented, put up something. She's just outraged that there is so much malice in my office that someone would destroy the decorations just because they didn't want me to win. But I tell her it's okay, it's okay, it's all in good fun, no problem. The day of the judging, I come in and I put up flyers around the office with the URL for the YouTube video of How the Grinch Stole Christmas at CompuSearch, and also an invitation for employees to attend the Who Feast at the conference room where we'd moved all the decorations and rearranged them. And I have snacks, and I sit there all day in case anyone wants to come by for the Who Feast. And I actually wind up charging a vacation day for that day because I really didn't get much work done because I spent a lot of the day explaining the story of the Grinch to my coworkers from India and Pakistan. But the voting happens, and the next day, and again, I am the winner. So I feel vindicated. I feel vindicated that Christmas decorating as storytelling art and as a multi-day performance art event has been embraced by the public. The next summer at the company picnic, the CEO comes up to me and he asks me, so David Supley Foxworth, what are you going to do next year? And I tell him that the holiday decorating, I really think of it as a trilogy, and it's run its course. And he tells me I should really think of it like the Harry Potter movies. And his kids will be very upset if there isn't a new installment every December. Thank you.